Good evening and welcome to Thorold City Council. First on our agenda, councilors. Are there any conflicts of interest? Seeing none, I'll move on to our minutes. Minutes of the regular council meeting held on May 6, 2017. Councilor Gale.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Moved by myself, seconded by Councilor Longwood, that the minutes of the regular council meeting held on May 16, 2017 be received and adopted.
Thank you. Are there any items for discussion in these minutes? Seeing none, I'll call a question. All those in favor? Opposed? That's carried. Minutes of the special council meeting held on May 16, 2017. Council Wayne.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Moved by myself, second by Councilor Neal, that the minutes of special council meeting held on May 16, 2017 be received and adopted.
Are there any items for discussion? Seeing none, I'll call a question. All those in favor? Opposed? That's carried. Minutes of the special council meeting held on May 16, 2017. That would have been Councilor Sharon. Councilor Fiona, maybe.
Moved by myself. Moved by myself, seconded by Councilor Hanley, that the minutes of the special council meeting held on May 16, 2017 be received and adopted.
Thank you, Councilor Fiona. Are there any items for discussion? Seeing none, I'll call a question. All those in favor? Opposed? That's carried. I'll move on to my mayor's report. And there's a number of things here. June 2017 marks the 33rd anniversary of Seniors Month in Ontario. To recognize the important role seniors play in our communities, we encourage you to celebrate this year under the theme of living your best life. Seniors have had an important role in building our communities and continue to contribute to their time and talent in many ways. Take the time to honor a senior in your life this month. On Sunday, June 4th, I was privileged to be able to attend the Decoration Day Parade and wreath-laying ceremonies organized by the Royal Canadian Legion Branch 18. On behalf of Council, I would like to thank the Legion for their work in our community, ensuring these important days of remembrance are not overlooked. Last Friday, another new business opened its doors in downtown Thorold. We are pleased to welcome Lauren Arcaro and her team at Salon 9 on Front Street. On May 27th, I was honored to be part of the 75th annual ceremonial review of the 128th Thorold Flying Dragon Cadet Squadron. These young men and women are the embodiment of dedication and service in Thorold and are shining examples of the youth in our community. The City of Thorold, Canada's 150 Committee, has a limited number of commemorative t-shirts available for purchase. Don't miss your opportunity to show off our special logo and your patriotism with the Thorold 150 t-shirt. T-shirts are $10 each and are available at City Hall. And you're available from our Deputy Clerk, Joanne Goulet. I would like to welcome Denise Landry, who joins the Development Engineering Department as a senior planner. Denise comes to us from the Niagara region, where she was policy planner and has also worked for the town of Fort Erie as a senior development planner. And that's Denise sitting over there in the corner. Welcome, Denise. I'm sure you're going to enjoy working for the City of Thorold. And thanks for choosing Thorold. I would like to offer congratulations to Mr. Eldon Barrison, who has accepted the position of Manager of Planning in the Development and Engineering Services Department. Eldon is a longtime city employee, and I am confident he will flourish in his new position. And again, Eldon, thank you for taking the position. And that first line remarks. And we'll move on to, we do not have any presentations. We have one delegation, that'll be Tony Vandermast, Chair of Lake Gibson Corridor Preservation Task Force, and recommendations for the committee, the council. Welcome, Tony.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor. Thanks for this opportunity to address council tonight. We've been working on this committee for a long time now. The mayor pointed out that, that we've been on this now since 2001, and we've been just, up until now, it's basically just been trying to get all the definitions and everything in order. And now we're ready to start actually doing something with this. Okay, at the last time I came here, I asked for agreement in principle to the idea of having this a conservation area. Since then, we sought a more accurate map, and we believe we found one. We pursued the adjustment of the eastern boundary, well, the boundaries in general of the green belt, because we wanted to include this entire area that we're speaking about. We met with senior staff and representatives of the Niagara Peninsula Conservation Authority, OPG, and the region of Niagara. They heard the presentation, and they wanted a little clarification on what we intended to do. I think OPG was concerned that we were talking about beaches and marinas, but we reassured them that we were just planning on doing things around the edge of the lake and not actually in it, which they seem quite receptive to. Our committee had discussed a name for the area. And our staff planner, who's been with us for a while now, Eldon, he's done a great deal of work for us on this. I want to thank him right now for the effort that he's put into it. One of the things when the new guidelines came down from the province for planning purposes, Eldon decided that he needed to look into the new rules to see whether they affected our plans at all. And we worked on a plan for a trail along DeQ Road. The first item that was addressed at our last meeting was to chase down the province on what they were going to do with the greenbelt as applies to the Lake Gibson corridor. And as it turns out, it was less than a week later, I believe, that we got the report from the province, including the Lake Gibson system in the new greenbelt. We were informed at the time that Councillor Neal and I went to the town hall meetings that were held for this at the Holiday Inn on Ontario Street a couple of years ago. And they remarked that we had to be the only municipality in Ontario that was asking for more greenbelt. Okay, the two recommendations that I'm going to be talking mostly about tonight is we would like to be able to contact the appropriate staff of the Niagara region to better discuss ways to employ what is known as the waterworks part. The next one is we would like council to begin providing funding for a multi-use trail along DeQ Road. carrying on from the work we've already done from Richmond Street to the Merrittville Highway. And that the city officially adopt the name of Beaver Dams DeQ Heritage Conservation Park. I know it sounds like a mouthful, but that was the name the committee came up with because we're trying, basically this area is the two founding villages of Thorold, Beaver Dams Village and DeQ Town, which died in the 1830s, but that was John DeQ's mills and all his support in that. Okay, why the waterworks part? Well, for one thing, we need some room for road clearance to put in a trail along there eventually. We also like to use it as a rest stop, and maybe a few tables for picnics or whatever, and also for a cycle staging area. Because right now there's extremely limited parking at the Q House for the cyclists that come out there. And early on Saturday morning, they go in there and they fill that parking lot right tight. And then they leave. Why a trail along DeQ Road? Well, this is a liquid jewel in the heart of Niagara. There aren't many municipalities that can claim an entire lake system within their boundaries. Safety is very important, of course. It's a narrow road. There's no sidewalks, no shoulders, deep ditches on both sides, and vehicles that seem to think that they're on the QEW when they're driving down there. I almost got hit out of nowhere getting out of my car to take pictures. Interconnection. We're hoping that eventually the region decides to do the construction on the Font Hill Spur to connect the circle route with the Steve Bauer Trail in Font Hill, and this would then connect from there to Short Hills Provincial Park eventually. And of course, this would provide access to an appreciation of the built-in natural heritage that's all along there. From the Beaver Dams Church, the Griffiths House, Mel Swart Lake Gibson Conservation Area, the DeQ House, which will eventually have that monument to the natives that the Friends of Laura Secord are having put in there. And right along, it's access to the Bruce Trail there at DeQ House. And even, I know it's in St. Catharines, but we figured that the Morning Star Mill is also a very important thing down there. Because a lot of people don't know it, but not the mill as it stands, but on that site was one of DeQ's first mills on that, because he owned all that land in there. Okay, I just did some rough maps quickly. The top one is the section that you've just done. The next one is, what I understand, half of that anyways, maybe in the works already, and that is from Richmond Street to Abbey. But we want to see if we can get that extended all the way to Beaver Dams Road. There's My understanding is that there's about to be another housing development in there. And so we would like to just make all of that accessible, at least in the urban areas for the start. The next section would be from the Merrittville Highway to DeQ House, and then from DeQ House to the Waterworks Morning Star Mill. And then eventually, that might prove a little more challenging, but eventually we would like to extend it from the Morning Star Mill all the way to the Thorold entrance to the Short Hills. Thank you very much for your time.
Thanks, Mike. It sounds like an exciting project for a new young planner.
If she wants to attend our meeting, she's more than welcome.
Okay, are there any questions for our presenter? Councilor Eagley.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, to Tony, excellent presentation, and I think it's a great idea, and I think we should support it moving forward. My question is, the name, Beaver Dams DQ Heritage Conservation Park. Do you think that conservation area would be better? And the only reason I say that is because we got Millswork Conservation Park, you're talking about Waterworks Park, and all these as part of this. So I think it's an area, not a park, otherwise the park designations of the other area become confusing. So your opinion or your thoughts on that?
Yeah, actually, I think area is better, but the committee decided that park would be better, and so that's what I'm presenting. Area would probably be better because it's not going to have, strict, marked out boundaries and everything. It's more of an idea that it covers all the heritage and the nature conservation and everything. But I'll leave that up to you. This is just a recommendation from our committee. So.
Are there any other questions? Councilor Neal?
Yes, maybe just one to you, to Tony. Maybe you can explain how big the area is. Most of the people may know, but some people don't know how big the area that we're talking about.
I don't know in hectares or acres how big the property is.
Just from east to west.
I'm not exactly sure, to be perfectly honest with you.
Maybe I can answer that question.
Sure.
It's from the Fourth Welland Canal on the east to basically Morning Star Mill on the west. So it's a very, very big area.
And Short Hills eventually.
That goes all the way down to Ellenberg on the south.
Right.
So it's a big area.
Are there any other questions? I know in 2001, when I was on this committee, the whole idea at the time was to give this, get all these lands into the green belt, and then approach the province to make it a part of Short Hills Park. I think that was the original goal. I don't know what has happened to that idea, that thought, since then.
Well, I was away from the committee for a while. When I came back, it just seems to have. I don't think the province is particularly interested. I think you probably stand a better chance having the NPCA look after it, to tell you the truth. But there's always a problem of ownership with the system, and that is that Ontario Power Generation, of course, owns the lakes. So really, the only area that's actually the conservation area is the land around the lake. So I don't know if that was a consideration of the province. I don't know, but they didn't seem to be terribly interested.
Okay, another question I have, and I just been getting the wind of it lately, is that you want to move the fence at Waterworks, we used to always call that Waterworks Park. growing up. And moved that, and that's a huge, huge piece of land. I don't know. Is it the intention of the committee to request that entire fence be moved back for the full length of that property? Because that, if you look at that property, I would guess the length of it would be 3/4 of a kilometer, maybe a kilometer long. Is it will the committee be looking at wanting to move the fence back on the entire property?
Well, quite frankly, that would be nice, but the reason we worded this the way that we did is so that it leaves it open for negotiation and discussion. We realize their concerns. Back when I first started with this, when we were first told that we could cut a deal for the TQ house, that was about 15 years ago, I guess. We were also told that we could have the waterworks part. But then 9/11, the reality kind of set in. The region got nervous and closed the park to protect the water supply. I don't think it's necessary personally that they have quite that much distance, from the road to the water. So what we would like to do is just see if we could work something out to get it, to give ourselves some room on there, and like I said, for a staging area, a rest stop.
But I think it's a great idea, and I'm certainly supportive of it. But, you're gonna have to firm up that plan a lot more. Either you're gonna go after all of that property, or you're gonna take a portion of that property and turn that into a park. Because it's very large, and then there's the cost to maintain it. So I think you should be thinking, if you're thinking large,
I realize
the
that.
cost. If you're thinking a nominal size that will support your bike park and your picnic areas, you may want to think along those lines also.
Well, actually, that's what we would like to do, because moving that entire fence back would be expensive. There's no doubt about that. And then, of course, parks would have to take on mowing it. But I'd like to see what the region has to say, because originally when they said we could have it, they said we could take it all or none. So I don't know what their stand's going to be. That's why we pretty much left this open for discussion.
Well, we'll ask them to find out. I have Councilor Hanley who wants to speak.
I'm just going to say, Mr. Mayor, that maybe during this year's annual conference, in regards to the Ontario lands, OPG lands and that stuff, is being that it be part of the Ontario boundaries and not federally regulated like we were trying to do with the designation of DQ Park in a sense, but maybe we could arrange if they do give us a little more condensed version of what they want, we could hit the Ontario end around the Lake Moody and Lake Gibson area, and then we'd have to address the region end as far as the park goes. So I think if they want to designate the lands an historical or conservation area or conservation park around the Lake Gibson or Lake Moody corridor, we're going to have to get the endorsement of the Ontario Power Generation.
I know.
I do, if I may, Mr. Mayor.
Go ahead, sorry.
When we had this meeting with OPG, the region, and the Conservation Authority, when we told them that basically we wanted it for observation, for appreciation, and to run a path down there, OPG was actually quite enthusiastic about it, because they say they're always looking for ways to promote the naturalization and that they do on projects they're involved in. So I suspect that may not be that big an uphill battle.
I'll leave it at that.
Okay, are there any other questions for our presenter? Thank you, Tony. Thanks for bringing that forward. I think you're going to get a lot of support for it, but it sounds like there's still a lot of work to do.
Well, yeah, there is. A lot of it's going to be negotiating.
Yeah.
I don't want to say all what we wanted.
No, your committee's done a great job.
Because we have to have a negotiating position, so.
On that, maybe if we can have maybe a brief report from Scott with regards to, say, next steps. If we get a report, where do we go from here?
Thank you.
I'll do that under other business as a motion. Okay, thanks, Mr. Van Rens. That concludes our delegation portion. We'll move into communications. Items referred to Council, City of Welland, Region of Niagara Development Church by law, Councilor Whalen.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Moved by myself, second by Councilor Hanley. The correspondence received from the City of Welland at its meeting on May the 9th, 2017, requesting regional council to make changes to the proposed region of Niagara development charges bylaw as outlined in the region of Niagara's report be received and supported.
Any discussion on that motion? Seeing none, I'll call a question. All those in favor? Opposed? That's carried. Town of Fort Erie, with regards to Woodbine Entertainment stall policy, Councilor Longo.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Moved by myself and seconded by Councilor Neal that the correspondence received from the town of Fort Erie at its meeting of May 15, 2017, requesting the Ontario Racing Commission to immediately prohibit Woodbine Entertainment from continuing its new stall policy or implementing any policy that restrict the movement of racehorses in Ontario or expand racing at Woodbine to include B-class horses, and that in the absence of the Ontario Racing Commission taking any action as requested, the Government of Ontario either compel the Ontario Racing Commission to act or immediately prohibit Woodbine Entertainment from continuing its new stall policy or implementing any policies that restrict the movement of racehorses in Ontario or expand racing at Woodbine to include B-class horses be received and supported.
Any discussions? Seeing none, I'll call a question. All those in favor? Opposed? That's carried. City of Thorold, with regards to Port Robinson Ferry signage, and that's my motion. Pardon me? Councilor Whalen, will you please allow me to speak after the review myself?
Should do, Mr. Mayor. So, sir, I refer to the council and City of Thorold. Here is him.
Thank you very much. I haven't got a second here. Councilor Hanley. Moved by myself, seconded by Councilor Hanley, that the City of Thorold is ultimately responsible for the Port Robinson Ferry and that the viability of this asset is an integral piece of the regional cycling network, and that the Port Robinson Ferry Committee and City of Thorold staff have met on several occasions to begin building a business case for sustained partnerships and long-term plans for operational needs of the Port Robinson Ferry, and that it has been determined that additional way signage is absolutely necessary to direct users appropriately and increase ridership, and that the city staff and our tourism agent has designed the necessary signage, and funding not to exceed $10,000 is required to purchase and install the signage in that area. That Thorold City Council hereby approve a budget overrun to purchase and install Port Robinson Ferry signage to be funded from the Port Robinson Ferry Reserve. And I would like to revise the second to last paragraph. In funding not to exceed $10,000 to be paid in $5,000 increments. If everybody's okay with that, because they may only need 5 to do the job. So, and speaking to this, the campaign for Bridget, as we are calling it, it's the new campaign, we'll be looking for money for sponsorships and that. So I'm just asking for this money, it's seed money, and that's why I divided in, asked to put up 5,000 first, to see where that goes, and if they need more, they can get the other 5. So that's all I have to say about it.
Any discussion of the motion? That being said, I'll put it for the vote. All in favor? Opposed? So passed.
Thank you. Okay. I have the gavel again, and I'll move on. List of committee minutes, correspondence from volunteer committees. Councilor Eugene.
Through you, Mr. Mayor. Moved by myself, seconded by Councilor Neal, that the communication on the list of correspondence 5D, minutes, correspondence from volunteer committees, be received for information purposes and filed.
Thank you, Councilor. Are there any items for discussion in these minutes and correspondence? Seeing none, I'll call a question. All those in favor? Opposed? That's carried. Reports, correspondence from the region of Niagara. Councilor Hanley.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Moved by myself, seconded by Councilor Longo, that the communication of the list of correspondence, 5E reports, correspondence from the region of Niagara be received for information purposes and filed.
Thanks, Councilor. Are there any items for discussion? Seeing none, I'll call a question. All those in favor? Opposed? That's carried. Items for information purposes. Councilor Neal.
Mr. Mayor, I don't have that one
Okay.
in front of me. Okay, Mr. Mayor, it's moved by myself, second by Councilor Ugolini, that the communications on the list of correspondence 5F be received for information purposes and filed.
Thank you, Councilor. Are there any items for discussion in these minutes? Councilor Eugene.
Through you, Mr. Mayor. Item 7, I'm going to ask for a staff report from the Director of Finance. This is regarding AMO's request for a response to their report for other viable solutions to municipal infrastructure shortfall. And what they're asking for is they've given a report, they've given us some figures, they're asking for our input, so I'm asking for a report from the Director of Finance and to tell us what they think of the report and also maybe some recommendations of what we can offer, especially with the AMO conference coming up.
I'm going to bring that up under the business if you're requesting a report.
Okay.
Are there any other items for discussion? Seeing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor? Opposed? That's carried. For the reports, minutes of the general committee meeting held on May 16, 2017. Councilor Pion.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Moved by myself, seconded by Councilor Longo, that the minutes of the general committee meeting held on May 16, 2017 be received and adopted.
Are there any items for discussion in these minutes? Seeing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor? Opposed? That's carried. Minutes of general committee meeting held on May 16th. I have Councilor Sharon. Councilor Hanley or
I got it.
You.
Moved by myself, seconded by Councilor Hanley, that the minutes of the general committee meeting held on May 16, 2017 be received and adopted.
Thank you, Councilor. Are there any items for discussion in these minutes? Seeing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor? Opposed? That's carried. Other business. I have Councilor Eugene, Neal, Councilor Hanley. Anybody else? Okay, go ahead, Councilor Eugene.
A few items here. I just want to bring up that I attended a retirement party for Thorold Fire and Protection Services Station 4, which honored David Youngblood, 47 years service, and David Eamon's 34 years service. 47 years is pretty amazing. I also attended the Community Safety Fun Fest put on in conjunction with Thorold Fire and Emergency Services, St. Catherine's Fire Department's Fire Services, and the Real Canadian Superstore in support of Emergency Services Month and Community Care. This event was well attended with many vendors and demonstrations, and special thanks to Vince Giovannini, Thorold's Fire Prevention Officer, who did a lot of work in preparing and helping out with this event. And now I got 2 reports I'm going to ask. The first one that I brought up earlier is a report on the AMO document. So that's the first item. Seconder, Councilor Neal.
Are there any discussions? I'll call the question. All those in favor? Opposed? That's carried.
And the next one is I'm going to ask for a staff report from the Director of Operations, who isn't here this evening. We're getting many complaints regarding railway crossing and railway lines that are out of service and the condition of them. So basically, I want them to do an inventory of railway crossings and redundant lines and work with, because it falls under the jurisdiction of Transport Canada. So work in conjunction with Transport Canada to bring these issues to light, and let's work on a remedy on them. We got some serious issues out there, and we need to start moving forward. And I understand that Transport Canada is the vehicle that could go through. Maybe Manoj can help me on that.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, see what kind of inventory we have. As a part of every municipality, we should have the inventory. I'll check with the operational guys and engineering folks just to see if we have something. If not, we will put together something and make sure that what you are mentioning will be outlined in this report. Thank you.
So I need a seconder for that. Councilor Wayne. So basically a staff report on our inventory of railway crossings, redundant rail lines, and what action should be taken moving forward in conjunction, I understand, with Transport Canada, because I believe it falls under their jurisdiction.
Madam Clerk, you getting all that?
Yes.
Okay, that's a motion on the floor. Would you like the clerk to repeat it? No? Okay. Speakers to the motion, Councilor Hanley.
I just want to bring out, I remember some time ago we discussed this with the rail lines going down Pine Street. If I remember correctly, and they immediately told us we're on our own. It's a defunct rail line. If we want to take out the railroad ties and railroad tracks as far as on Pine Street down to where they go to Claremont Street, because at the time we repaved that section of the street knowing the train wasn't even running down there, and we left the tracks in the middle of the road because of the cost that we would have had to incur to rip the old railroad ties out and that stuff in the railroad lines before we done the asphalt. And if you go down that road, you look, you can see it's newer asphalt right to the rails, and we haven't used that rail line in 20 years.
Thanks, Councilor, for that.
Yeah.
Good history lesson.
It's a
Okay, I'll call the question on that. All those in favor? Opposed? That's carried.
That's a big old.
Councilor Neal.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I do have 3 motions regarding the Lake Gibson Task Force Committee, and I thank Tony for making the presentation tonight. As Mr. Mayor, you said and Tony said, we've worked at this since 2001, and finally we're putting things together. And as you said again, it's going to be a process. I have 3 motions. The first one is moved by myself, second by Councilor Uzzolini, that the City of Thorold staff be directed to approach appropriate staff in the Niagara region to begin discussions on ways in which the property known locally as the Waterworks Park on DQ Road may be open for public use. So that's my first motion.
Okay, that's the motion on the floor, and it's seconded by Councilor Uzzolini. Discussions to the motion. Seeing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor? Okay, Councilor Hanley.
I will again another history lesson. Melwood House was the mayor when we closed it. Tony's exactly right. It was 2001, and they used the excuse of 911, saying that. I can remember the guy from the region. He was how if a tanker come in there and they put some chemical or whatever in the water and some they contaminated water service? Well, they can do it on Maryville Highway, they can do it on Baby Dams Road, they can do it in numerous locations along there. It was a reasoning for giving them the reason to shut it, as they were always wanting to do. And Tony's exactly right, they were gonna give it to us for $1. Take it, we don't want it no more. And as soon as that happened, it was an excuse to eliminate it and not give it to anybody. So I support it 100%. There's no reason that shouldn't be open. My kids used to go there, my wife used to go there numerous times. And then when it was closed, there's not a place in Thorold for a person to go and enjoy a place, a conservation area such as that, or a park. So I support what Councilor Neal's wanting to do 100%. There's no reason why we shouldn't have it open. Thank you.
And I can also remember the amount of trees that were there that are not there anymore. And many of them have just fallen down from rot. Now with the emerald ash borer disease we have all through the city, and all through Ontario, all through Canada, I'm afraid we're going to lose. Well, there's going to have to be a good inspection of the trees out there to see which ones are still viable and which ones have to be taken down due to safety reasons. Anyways, I'll call the question. All those in favor? Opposed? That's carried. Carry on, Councilor Neal.
Mr. Mayor, my second motion is regarding trails along the Q Road. And it's moved by myself, seconded by Councilor Ugolini, that a proposal to continue construction multi-use trail along the length of the Q Road be forwarded to the 2018 budget deliberations for consideration.
Thank you for that, Councilor. Any discussions to that motion? Seeing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor? Opposed? That's carried.
And the third one, again, as Councilor Ugolini stated, either park or area, but I'll move the motion, seconded by Councilor Ugolini, that the area comprising the Lake Gibson corridor be officially named the Beaver Dam to Q Heritage Conservation Area. Since he's the one that seconded the motion, I will put it in his area instead of park.
Okay. Speakers to that motion. Seeing none, I call the question. All those in favor? Opposed? That's carried unanimously. All three were unanimous.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for bringing that forward. Under other business, I have Councilor Hanley.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I have a motion that I want to bring forward tonight in regards to an extension of a liquor license. I'll read the motion first and then I'll discuss afterwards. Moved by myself, seconded by Councilor Longo, that the Council, City of Thorold hereby declares a celebration after party for the homecoming boxing event being held on June 30th, 2017 at Lake Club Niagara, located on 13030 Lundy's Lane. Thorold, an event to be of municipal significance for the purpose of extending the establishment of existing liquor license hours, and supports the application for extended hours as it relates to liquor license 11213, and that the owners of Lake Club Niagara shall be responsible for complying with all the conditions imposed by the Alcohol Gaming Commission of Ontario. If I could, Mr. Mayor, first, I know I sent council some information. It was to be a 30-day notice, but we have had discussions today with Jerry Leviton from the Liquor Control Board that if council was to support this motion tonight. And I'll discuss to you what Lake Club Niagara is now. It's a former, as many know, adult entertainment club, which no longer exists. They now are Lake Club Niagara. Is a newly renovated multifunctional entertainment space located at 13030 Lundy's Lane. They will host corporate events, live shows, public speakings, and private events. On Friday, June 30th, 2017, Lake Club Niagara will be hosting the celebration after party for the homecoming boxing event featuring Phil LoGreco, the Canadian professional boxer in the welterweight division and former WBC international welterweight champion. Their goal and their main goal is to become one of Niagara's top supporters of the economy boosting events such as this by offering a unique safe space for tourists and locals to have a night out on the town. Lake is located far out enough from the residential housing that is perfect for rather large events. They offer free parking on the night of the event, June 30th, and will also be supplying a free shuttle bus to and from the convention center. This batch of events is the first of many to come. That's bringing in approximately 1,200 fans from the GT area. We're requesting a letter for an event of municipal significance for the extended hours, which they're requesting for sales of Club 8 until 4 a.m. on the Fort Bunchen date. They believe this event to be important for the region of Niagara and may encourage other events to be hosted in their area. And currently, Lake Club Niagara supports local artists, business, and entrepreneurs by a wide variety of entertainment on our location. They've been having cover bands lately. We're looking after, Thorold actually has their July 1st event with the blues. I've talked to Councilor Delaney. We're trying to organize something there. So you have a blues event. I can honestly tell you they're actually looking, we'll be in the process of applying to the city to erect a tent out there, a hosting tent that could host up to possibly 5,000 people and having events. It's like a Russian circus event. That's also, I sent a letter out to council that this is being supported by Phil Locrocco Professional Boxing, Champ, his manager, Frank Locrocco's father. So it's something that is good for the Niagara region. I was asking that council support this motion as put forward. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, that's the motion on the floor. Councilor Long seconded it. Discussion to the motion. Councilor Neal.
Yeah, question for you to Councilor Hanley. Is this a specific event for this particular purpose at this particular time? You're not asking for any other late closing?
No. The city of Thorold has passed such motions in the past allowing for an extension of liquor license.
Yeah.
And it's just a one-time event because the boxing will not cease till like 1 in the morning or 1:30. So whenever the boxing event is then they're gonna have an after event celebration at Lake Club Niagara, where all the participants and the fans will be welcomed back to enjoy the festivities there.
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, I think it's worth us passing this for this and see what happens.
I do.
Seeing how it pans out, seeing if they can make money on their event, and take a look at it for future, because each time they want to hold an event, they'll have to come back to council in order to.
Yes, this is just a one thing. And I can tell you, Lennox Lewis, Box Promotions Global Incorporated, he's part of the events too, so Lennox Lewis will be there. Who knows what other boxes, but this isn't going to be something that they're gonna continuously coming asking for an event, because they realize, the Local Gaming Commission realizes that they do not honor these type of events continuously over a period of time. It's once in a while.
Are there any other speakers? Being a one-up type of evening, I can support it, but I know that if the bar there, the one that started doing it continuously, the commission is not going to allow you to do that. But I do support it for this one occasion. So, do you like to speak to that?
I can honestly tell you, I would believe that you may be able to get it once or maybe twice a year, an extension. That's it, the clerk could probably see on it. This isn't something where you can come in every 30 days and ask for an extension. An extension like this is a rare, like, it's a once in a year type of deal. It's not something that will be continuously asked for.
Thank you, Council.
You're welcome.
Any other speakers before I call the question? And I will call the question. All those in favor? Opposed? That is carried. Other business. Is there anything else? Anybody else have any comments under other business? Seeing none, I'll move the bylaws. Bylaw number 64-2017. Councilor Delaney.
Reports first.
Through you, Mr. Mayor. Moved by myself, seconded by Councilor Neal, that leave be given to introduce the following bylaws. Bylaw number 64-2017, being a bylaw to establish an area-specific development charge for the Brock Business Park, and that the same now be read first time.
All those in favor? Opposed? That's carried.
Moved by myself, seconded by Councilor Neal, that the bylaw just read a first time, be read a second and third time, and do pass. And that the mayor and clerk do sign and seal the same. Any rule of this council to the contrary notwithstanding.
All those in favor? Opposed? That's carried. Notice of motions. Does anybody have a notice of motion? I do. Okay, I've been approached by the CEO of the Niagara Sports Commission, and they're looking for a sponsorship type of grant to the tune of $650. And we're asking, I'll have to question them, Mr. Cotton, whether it's going to be annual thing or it's just a one-up. So I'll have that information for you our next council meeting with regards to that. So I'll be bringing that forward, and you'll have full information next council meeting. Okay, I'll call for adjournment. Councilor Whalen.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Moved by myself, second by Councilor Hanley, this meeting will be adjourned at 7:23 p.m.
Thank you, Councilor. All those in favor? Opposed? That's carried. I guess you want to go right into the general committee. I call this meeting to order. First up is councilors. Are there any conflicts of interest? Seeing none, I'll call a question. We do not have all those in favor? We do not have any delegations, nothing under the administration, nothing under the finance. We'll move right into operations. DOR 2017-12, naming of the park and Rolling Meadows subdivision. I'm very pleased to see this brought forward tonight, and call on who's
Okay.
Thank you. Next.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The recommendation is that the council grant the request to name the two parkland parcels in the Rolling Meadows subdivision as Gill Garden Park. Thank you. That concludes the recommendation.
Thank you. I could have a mover for the recommendation, Councilor Ugolini.
So move the recommendation.
Speakers to the recommendation. Councilor Neal.
Just maybe to thank the Gordon family for decades of service to the community and being part of the city of Thorold, the town of Thorold, and way back, probably the village of Thorold. And it's all of our pleasure to allow this to happen, and it's a good thing.
I think we're all pleased to be able to bring this forward and support it unanimously. So I'm just going to, if there's no other speakers, I'm just going to call the question. All those in favor? That is supported unanimously by the council of the city of Thorold. And I'd like to thank the Gordon family for bringing this forward. Thank you. Okay, we're into the Development and Engineering Services, DES 2017-49, tender award for bylaw enforcement vehicle. I believe that's Mr. Toast.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. To you, Mr. Mayor, it is respectfully recommended that council approve the award of the purchase of a new vehicle for the bylaw enforcement division in the amount of $13,707.34, excluding HST. Performance Hyundai, with an additional $1,200 excluding HST to equip the vehicle with the safety equipment, and that the mayor and clerk be authorized to execute the necessary agreement. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Toast. Can I get a motion for the recommendation? Councilor Hondo.
So move the recommendation.
Speakers to the report. Councilor Whalen.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. That report, just one clarification. You know what kind of high-end it is? Can you expand on what model it is?
It's Hyundai Hyundai Elantra. It's the compact vehicle.
Okay, that being said, is it big enough, like one of our pilots is a pretty big guy. How would it be about driving a pickup truck right now? Is it a standard, is it going to be okay with using this type of vehicle?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, the additional vehicle will be a second vehicle as a complement of bylaw enforcement vehicles. One is a full-size pickup truck, and the other one is going to be the compact vehicle. I have sat in that vehicle myself in the past and felt that was sufficient to accommodate myself, and I think the other file officers, give or take, about the same size as me, so I don't think there's any ergonomic issues that we'd be concerned about.
Is it a standard or automatic?
It's automatic.
That price, that's a good deal. Thank you.
Are there any other speakers to the report? Seeing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor? Opposed? That's carried. DES 2017-50, proposed Niagara Region Development Charge Bylaw. Mr. Gavadia.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The recommendations are that the council of the city of Thorold support most of the comments from town of Fort Erie and city of Welland, and request regional council consider the comments as outlined in this report before adopting the Regional Niagara Development Charges bylaw, and further, that said bylaw be updated and circulated to the city of Thorold for review and comments prior to passage, and that the report DS 2017-50 be forwarded to the region for their consideration. That concludes the recommendation. Thank you.
Can I get a move for the report? Councilor Whalen.
So with the report?
Speakers to the report. Seeing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor? Opposed? That's carried. And we're now we're moving into the clerk's area. CC 2017-27, Chief Administrative Officers Recruitment. Ms. Del Vecchio.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. It's being recommended that in accordance with the Recruitment and Hiring Policy 1200-03, an ad hoc recruitment committee consisting of the mayor, 2 members of council, regional human resource specialists, and the city clerk be established to facilitate the recruitment process for the CAO and to recommend Thorold City Council a preferred candidate for the role. That concludes the report.
Thank you, Ms. Del Vecchio. Can I get a mover for the report? Councilor Ugolini.
So move the report.
Speakers to the report. Councilor Ugolini.
Yes, I'd like to put my name forward to sit on that committee.
Thank you. And Councilor Leon.
I'd also like to put my name forward. Excuse me, my voice is a bit hot tonight.
Councilor Whalen, do you want this? We only have 2, so we have to have some kind of a vote. Anybody else? Pardon me?
Can I make a comment? Can I make a comment?
Yes, sure.
Mr. Mayor, we've got 3 councilors that are interested. Can we change that to 3 so we still don't have a quorum? But
The only problem with that is I'm the one who breaks the tie. So it's either going to be 3 or 5. If we go to 5, we have a quorum.
that's fine. Just that in the past, we've had 3 councilors in the last hiring committee. So whatever this council desires.
The clerk has informed me that if we wanted to, we would have to waive that policy to add a 3rd person. So you have to put a motion on the floor to waive the policy. And I believe it's 2/3 vote. Do we need 2/3 vote? No? Okay.
I'd like to put that motion forward, please, Mr. Mayor.
Let's waive the policy, because there's a motion on the floor to waive the policy and add an additional person on the committee. That's the motion on the floor. Speakers to the motion. Councilor Longo.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Maybe some clarification from the clerk. If we do have, what are we looking for, 5 people on the selection committee?
3.
3 plus yourself.
3 plus myself.
And how would we break a tie? Can somebody,
You can. That's why you need to have an even number. It has to be 2, or it has to be 4. If you have 4 plus myself is 5, you have a quorum. You can't do it. It's a public, it would be a public meeting.
my understanding is that after the committee, if it's 2 or 3 members of council plus yourself, it's still coming back to council for approval?
Yes.
Just recommendation.
Can I speak to that? the committee would bring forward a preferred candidate at a special general committee, in-camera special committee meeting on August the 1st. So the preferred candidate would be meeting all the council before any decision is made. Their job is to simply provide a recommendation to council for consideration.
Go ahead, Councilor Longo.
Just my final comment on it. I think the last thing we need is some sort of tie that slows down our process. So I would recommend staying with the 2 members of council and the mayor. But again, that's just my thought. We're in a time crunch as it is. We want to get this accomplished. So my recommendation would be staying with how it's written here.
Okay, Councilor, any other speakers to the motion? Seeing none, I'll call a question. All those in favor?
On what?
On waiving
Waiving the policy.
waiving the policy
To
that
allow
we're
a
voting
third
on.
council member.
We're waiving the policies. All those in favor? Opposed? That's defeated. So we're back to the original motion. We have 3 candidates. That means we have to have a ballot and a vote. And the clerk will explain how this is going to work.
So through you, Mr. Mayor, Clerk's Department has prepared ballots for each council. If you could just select, circle your 2 members that you would like to stand on the committee, and just sign your name at the bottom of the ballot. Under the Municipal Act, all votes in open session have to be open, so we need to be able to report in our minutes. We can't do any secret voting, so you'll have to sign your name as to who you're voting for.
Okay. Ms. Goulet, could you distribute the ballots, please?
That's it.
Okay, we'll take a 5-minute recess while the ballots are counted.
Want to take that one?
They discovered the leader of the PC party quick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
through you, Mr. Mayor, the two candidates would be Councilor Ugalini and Councilor Payon. I did want to mention that those ballots will be shredded, but your names will appear how you voted in our minutes, because they have to under the municipal law.
Okay, so. Repeat the motion that's on the floor.
I'm going to repeat the motion on the floor with the amendments of the two names, just so we're clear. So the motion is that in accordance with the recruitment and hiring policy 1200-03 and ad hoc recruitment committee consisting of the mayor, Councilor Ugalini, and Councilor Payon, regional HR specialist and city clerk be established to facilitate the recruitment process for the CAO and recommended Thorold City Council preferred candidate for the role.
Thank you, that's the motion on the floor. Any more discussion? I'll call the question. All those in favor? Opposed? That's carried. Okay, never mind. Okay. We have nothing under, that concludes the clerk's department. We have nothing in the fire and emergency services, and we are not going in camera tonight, so we're moving to special counsel, moved by Councilor Payon, second by Councilor Henry. That we do now rise and enter into special counsel. All those in favor? Opposed? That's carried. Moved by Councilor Payon, seconded by Councilor Henry, that the recommendations of the following reports be approved. POR 2017-12, DES 2017-49 and 50, CC 2017-27. All those in favor? Opposed? That's carried. Moved by Councilor Payon, seconded by Councilor Hanley, that leave be given to introduce the following bylaws. Bylaw number 65-2017, a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of the Council of the Corporation of the City of Thorold at its regular and special council meeting of June 6, 2017, and that the same now be read a first time. All those in favor? Opposed? That's carried. Moved by Councilor Payon, seconded by Councilor Hanley, that the bylaws just read a first time, be read a second and a third time, and do pass, and that the mayor and clerk do sign and seal the same, any rule of this council to the contrary notwithstanding. All those in favor? Opposed? That's carried. Moved by Councilor Payon, seconded by Councilor Hanley, that this meeting is hereby adjourned at 7:37. All those in favor? Opposed? That's carried.